Hey, everybody. Welcome to another install. This is a collaboration. I'm just going to
This is a collaboration.
Collab.
Collaboration Nation. I even wore my Wu-Tang Shaolin.
Oh, look at
You
that.
didn't see that.
I did not see that.
Masters of Craft, Chris Denson here with two amazing young fellas. Why don't you tell the people who you are?
We'll introduce ourselves. What's up, guys? My name is Ben.
And I'm Ryan, guys.
And we are of the Conversations podcast.
Conversations.
And we're doing a little collab with Masters of Craft. What's up, Chris?
Play on words. Conversations.
It's a convergence of things, right? It's a collab, right?
I like that.
Yeah. I mean, dude, the hoodie, man. You brought the Shaolin and the Wu-Tang.
I had to honor the experience, and I don't break this out very often.
Bro, that's a fire.
It's got the
legit.
So
it's like orangey. Like
it is.
Yeah.
It's all orange.
All orange. Yes.
This is like I rarely buy merch. I went to a screening of the 36 Chambers.
Oh,
and
sick.
And RZA did a live score to the movie at the event, and I was like,
I would have 100% bought all the merch.
I spent maybe $300.
Good.
I bought a poster. I bought the hoodie. So
was that in LA?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
Nice.
So there you go.
That's what's
legit,
up, man.
it's legit.
Well, dude, we're definitely not in our normal setup for you or us. Everyone's probably like, where are y'all, dude?
Yeah,
Is it hot in here? I don't know.
It's getting a little warm. Where are we at, Chris? Where are we
So
at?
we're actually one of my favorite places, Two Bit Circus. If you've ever heard of Nolan Bushnell, who created Atari, Chuck E. Cheese,
Yes.
basically like the godfather of the video games industry. Mainly his son, Brent, run the space like a 15,000 square foot arcade on steroids. They call it a micro amusement park. So, we might get into some challenge.
Yeah, we'll play
Yeah,
some
it
video
looks
games.
great in here, too.
Territory later.
Yeah, we'll get into some video games. Well, speaking of, Masters of Craft.
Yes.
I was thinking about this today. I was like, what is the touch point between Masters of Craft and Conversations? And I think some of my favorite things, speaking of, Shaolin, Wu-Tang, some of the best innovative things come with kind of seemingly unlikely collaborations, unlikely things like streetwear, food. Even
Like
this
food
place.
and clothing or something like that.
I mean, tell them about your sneakers. Just
Oh.
pull one off and put it
Okay.
on the table.
wait,
I will.
Should we get, now these are
Just showing off
orange.
my flexibility here.
These are orange, guys.
No, don't let this lighting fool you.
These are the Nike Stranger Things collab, and I know
red.
the questionable color in the part of town that we're in, but
I think we're safe. I think we're safe.
Yes,
especially
we're
with the
safe.
Christmas
You're-
sweater.
this-
Like,
this part of town is really
I'm
safe,
representing
so.
Christmas.
The
I'm a
Christmas
little,
hoodie.
I can't let go of the holidays. Apparently,
Yeah.
But,
I did see, I kind of had this warm feeling. when
you
I
know,
saw it.
I'm a holiday guy.
It is your
What can I
holiday
say?
sweater, too.
It is.
You wear it
Yeah.
Oh, it really is
Yeah.
your holiday
Well,
sweater.
he'll come by
is.
during
Yeah. This is like my holiday party sweater,
Yeah.
absolutely. But here we are. But yeah, as I was thinking about what is that touch point between those spaces of Masters of Craft. I mean, you're all about innovation, and we are about innovation.
Innovations.
Oh, did that work? Did that land?
That was a bar.
Okay,
That was a bar.
innovations. No, but yeah, man. Dude, I met you. It was pre-pandemic when we met.
It had to be 2017. So I still have a Kinja's jacket.
Yes,
which
yeah.
is like,
You were on the Kinja's podcast.
I was. Thank you.
And
you were one of my
I was.
innovation
We
crushes.
kind of did the same thing.
But we separated the experience.
Yeah. And but you're also a fan of martial arts. We were talking about David Moon.
Yeah.
Do you guys still train together?
I haven't trained with Murim Gung in a long time, but I've been collaborating with some people. James Rowe actually
Yes.
came through.
Yeah.
Masters of Crafts. Shout out to James.
Yeah, shout out James.
My co-producer on the show is Caleb Thorpe. So Caleb was training at Murim Gung. So it's
I
been a haul.
did one session there. James was
how'd that
there
go?
that time. And then shout out Year of the Ox, shout out Rick and JL. They were also there. And that was my first time stepping back into like a taekwondo martial arts thing since I was probably, 12 years old or something like that. And I forgot, it's hard.
Like I thought a lot of stuff.
and it hurts. You know what I'm saying?
Your body
Yeah.
isn't made for that anymore.
I know.
It's like dancing.
I'm
stuff,
out of shape in that realm, but
Isn't that weird though? Isn't that weird how you can be like in complete shape for like one craft that everybody looks at and goes like, "Oh my gosh, that's incredible!"
Right.
And then you go swimming, and you're like,
Totally.
"What?
You don't have
I'm
the
a
muscles
horrible,
for it.
Horrible
You know what I
swimmer. Yeah.
For me, it's like hiking. Like hiking when I go on actual terrain, my feet don't have the muscles for that. So it's like my feet end up getting really swollen and really like sore. It's like walking on sand or running on sand. You have that feeling? Yeah. So it's like.
So you're saying you can't go hiking?
No, I just.
You might just need better shoes, bro.
Yeah.
What kind of shoes are you using?
I just think it's not something I normally do.
No shoes.
No,
but that's the best way they say, right?
It's I'm using definitely like old Nikes and stuff like that.
Well, that's why, bro.
Yeah. I need to get some. I'm now at that age where I'm like getting shoes for specific things.
Yeah, you got to up your shoe game, bro.
Yeah, I got bowling shoes. Now I got to get hiking shoes. So
Hokas.
Teva.
Yeah.
I need some advice on that. So.
Okay.
Have the people write in and give you shoe advice.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I think the intersection is just like you said, like when I believe in the concept of unlikely pairings.
Yeah.
Right. Some of the best innovations come from like, oh wait, those two things are going together right now. Like one of my favorite examples, I always talk about like Spotify and Ancestry had a partnership for about a year. Yeah, it was really dope because it's like
what
you
did
do
they
your DNA test. And it says like, oh, you come from these 5 regions of the world, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that. I want to get more familiar with that. So Spotify would serve you up a playlist with artists from those regions.
That's cool,
right? So because like for Spotify, it solved like a discovery issue because you're like, oh, we have all these artists on the platform that people aren't discovering. So now you're like, oh, I'm from whatever Norway.
Right.
There's a lot of black people in Norway.
Shout
out to the Black Norwegian community.
Black Norwegians.
But yeah, so like those, and I got a bunch of examples of that same thing. But like, and also just like I think we borrow from culture. Like we borrow from each other's cultures a lot. And I mean, case in point, but just I mean, look at what the Wu-Tang is, let alone like whatever other kind of collaborations out there.
Well, speaking of innovating and unlikely collaborations, I mean, our audience may not know who you are, your audience may not know who we are. So how about let's start with a little bit of intro. So Chris, like, what is it that you do that you want people to know you for?
You know what I like to say? I say I like to help people unlock ingenuity.
Yeah.
And I do that 2.5 ways. That's math.
Yes.
First is just sort of innovation, consulting, coaching. A few months ago, I actually started like a one-on small team, like 11 session. Let's just get to the down and dirty of like what your creative blocks are, what are some opportunities for you, your team, your business. And I get to be really intimate with people. That's really cool. On occasion, I'll take on like a project. So like last year we did a whole like in technology event with Verizon's 5G lab. Shout out to Verizon because they were one of my first partners in Masters. And then the other part is content and storytelling, right? So content and storytelling means I get to have conversations with interesting people and ask them all my nosy questions and what their secrets are and where the hidden blocks are. And, because I think we, in the innovation space, it's really easy to look at like, oh, look at that thing over there, and that's amazing. But the trials and errors and attempts and misses and pivoting careers and all the things that come along with trying to make something new and different happen, like it's ugly. So I want to make that conversation as real as possible. And then the third bucket is I got trained in, I told you this the other day, I got trained in psychedelic facilitation. Ooh, and I think unlocking, what psychedelics allows you to do is really unlock a lot of layers of blocks and achieve some clarity. So sometimes I'll blend all those 3 things together. Sometimes they're separate. So it's been really cool.
Yeah, and that's dope. Sweet. And you have a book out.
I wrote a book, 10 Essential Rules for Breaking Essential Rules. So, it's like, if you're an innovator, like, you're like, look, we got to do something that nobody else has done. So we can't abide by the same rules that everybody else abides by. And what are they? So that I know what they are so I can break them, right? And so, the book came out in 2018. We ended up doing a mixtape for the book, which was really fun. I did that with my boy Mick, incredible DJ, entrepreneur. And then we toured around the world. Like I just, went to New Zealand. I interviewed Jazzy Jeff in New Zealand. I was just telling somebody that story today. Along the way, gotten to work with like a bunch of agencies, won a ton of awards, worked the Obama administration, and all sorts of folks, man. Just kind of like, let's figure it out. I have no domain expertise. I'm like, if you have, what about automotive? You're like, sure, okay. What about dance? That'd be cool. It's just, because for me, innovation is the process of getting there. Right. It's not like what the domain is. It's just, let's help you think about this a little differently.
You know what I love about that? When you say like innovation is, you have to be a curious person to even understand that there is room to innovate, right? I mean, even when you're saying like to know what the rules are so that you can break them, right? And even like the concept of a glass ceiling, is you got to know that, okay, if that's the limit, cool. Now that's where I know that I got to break through that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's really cool. And I think the magic sauce of that is just being curious. And like also, I mean, look at the place that we're at. We're in a freaking arcade. You know, like it's like, you know, what better place to, you know, bring out that childlike energy and play games. And I'm sure every single one of these games, from VR to, I mean, we got old school games like skee ball.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? And then we have like VR.
Yeah, the crane games.
You know, it's all over the place. So I love that, man. I think it's cool that, you know, even from the time that I met you to where you're at now, you're exploring different realms. Like, I mean, psychedelics. I mean, this stuff we weren't talking about this last time.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean?
Not
So
I'm scared to talk about it now. Thinking
Is it
No,
legal?
no, it's legal. Yeah, we got some. It's in the works. So it's like he's just on the
Colorado and Oregon. It is legal.
Yes.
Specifically with psilocybin is my.
Yes.
But I mean, it's passed or it's gonna pass because there's money involved in it, and it has research that it actually helps people. So that's where it's gonna start, like how we did, like in California, like medicinal first.
Yeah.
And then, but you know, like dude, there's already companies coming out like gearing up gummies and things like that because they know that it's gonna be legal. So that's what I think. So, but
let me ask you guys a challenging question. Does mental health look different in the Asian diaspora than it does?
There is no mental health. I mean, now it's looking better, but
Speak on it, bro. What do you think? What's your take on it?
I think
You don't think Asians have mental health?
No, I don't think it's like awareness. I think that Asian mental health awareness is not as big as it is in just American culture or in America.
Do you think that's the case, like in general, in America, in Asia, in general?
I know in Korea probably they don't even have a thing called, it's not mental health. I think the younger generation is more aware now, but it's still not as accepted as it is in America.
I disagree. I think things are changing. I think I see a lot of people, even in the entertainment industry, bringing more awareness, even just conversationally.
But that's Americans.
No, I'm talking about in Korea.
Well,
even.
I did say the diaspora, but I think you make a great point, right? It's like it's a generational thing.
I think it's generational for sure.
Let alone if you come from a country where maybe it wasn't a topic to begin with.
I think what he's trying to say, like our immigrant parents viewed it as weakness, or you just got to get over it, and
we have half of that. So we're learning how to be more aware of our mental.
Yeah, I think we are, again, because there is more, the conversations are more acceptable to have, because it's like, hey, it's not just me that goes through this. Like, hey, we don't look alike. You go through this too. I think I relate to you. So I think these conversations are happening now, which I think is really important. But I do think that our parents who immigrated here, they sort of download this like suck it up sort of mentality. And but I think I see it now, that kind of being more undone, because these spaces where people can actually have a forum where they can express themselves in a way where it's healthy, and I'm glad that we are seeing a trajectory away from these like taboo topics.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So
maybe what I said was too strong. What I meant was, they're.
Oh, you meant to say what I said?
You said.
You got a hot take. That's all.
Or you took what I said and made it sound better.
Okay, cool.
We said the same thing, right?
We said the same thing. Yeah, we got the same
thing. Partnership here.
No, because look, my mom, I remember it was a few years ago. I was like, oh, maybe you want to try therapy. And she was like, I'm not crazy. And I was like, whoa, nobody. The fact that that's your perspective on what therapy is like means there's an opportunity for you to unlearn that.
For sure.
And she like ended up doing it a little bit. But same thing, like I had to like kind of seek that out on my own, and like, oh, this is actually cool, and it doesn't mean that I'm broken or did anything wrong.
Let me throw that back to you then. So like as a black, did you grow up here, born and raised
Detroit, Michigan?
Detroit, Michigan. Okay,
yep.
So born American, but you come from you're Black American. Like is any of that culturally? Was any of that sort of taboo growing up, or was that always kind of a welcome topic?
I mean, anything medical, and this is not a blanket statement, but in a lot of black culture, it's just like you avoid it. You know, oh, if I don't want to go to the doctor, they're just going to tell me I'm sick.
Right.
Like, you're like, well,
not sick as long
Well,
as
that's
you
Asian
don't
culture.
Yeah,
That's
it's
Asian
like,
culture
it's
too.
like COVID. Just don't get tested.
Yeah, if I don't
Asian
go,
culture is you're not sick. Don't need to go to the doctor.
And I think the one thing we all kind of have in common is, we can talk about this later, but like, it's church. We talked about it a little bit before off camera, and I know your backstory and current story as well.
Yeah.
And my dad was a pastor, and it was just like, well, let's see. There was a little bit of the faith versus science, let alone my parents grew up in the projects. So, it's just like access is a whole other thing. And I think that's the other thing when you talk about, like, yes, we're fostering conversation, that how close are you in proximity in your neighborhood, in your community of people to other people talking about it, or a resource, or hey, at church, let's have a mental health conversation, right? Like, we could talk about God, but we can also talk about, like, go talk to a regular human being as well. Because I think
was your father the head pastor of the church? Was he one of the pastors?
Pastor John Denson.
Yeah. My dad was a pastor too, actually.
Oh,
retired.
nice.
Yeah, retired.
Look at that, PKs, man.
Yeah.
We got PKs in the house.
That's wild. That's wild.
Yeah.
How does, like, because one of the reasons I asked that, because I think if you're on any kind of entrepreneurial journey, and I know a little bit of your guys' background, it's like mental health comes into play. I know you're in the middle of an evolution right now, and and it comes with, like, there's a shitload of opportunity and, like, a lot of self-doubt, like just all the conversations
There you
you
go.
have in your head.
Tie
I
it
did
in.
it.
Look at the camera.
I did
everybody.
it. I'm honorary. But yeah, like, where does that come into play in, like, in the journey of your business or your crafts?
Well, to be considered a master of my craft.
Yeah.
It takes.
You did. I did
know
one.
what
Then
I'm
you
saying?
did one.
We two could play at that game. No, but we met through the dance scene. Like, we came up growing up in high school, and dance was just the thing that we loved to do, and then we just kind of doubled down on that thing, and then dance took us to different places, and, like, for me, I decided to just go
Triple down,
like all in on it. I'm like, hey, I love this thing, and I pursued it as my career. And and I never did it thinking.
For the people, then, just brag on what success in the dance arena has looked like for you guys, and then we can continue.
So I was formerly of the original Jabberwockies crew. We won the first.
Oh, yeah, you're missing the college.
He said I should brag. Oh, like what college I went to?
No,
I went to college. UC Irvine.
Cava. He started on Cava. But yeah, he started off in Cava Modern. Don't
I
forget
actually
that.
didn't start off in Cava Modern, but anyway,
You started off dancing with Ryan. No, just kidding.
So Cava Modern, I was at UC Irvine. Cava Modern was the team I started. That was kind of the team that I got, like, my recognition for my choreography and things. Then I joined Jabberwockies. We won a TV show called America's Best Dance Crew in 2008, and then that kind of set off the whole crazy roller coaster of just touring the world, just doing all kinds of crazy things, and then eventually we landed a residency show in Las Vegas with the MGM International Casinos. And I did that for about, 2007. And I left Vegas in 2014. And then I came back to LA. And then I joined a crew called Kinjas, which is where I'm currently at. We're both members of Kinjas. I am an owner of the company. And still rocking, still moving, and still doing it. But things are transitioning. Things are evolving, just as you mentioned earlier. And that's kind of my story. What about you, Ryan?
And I'm just here. No,
you're not just here, bro.
After a concert, or we went on tour with the Yusung Jun, YSJ, and then he's
a K-pop artist.
Guy, K-pop artist, and biggest K-pop solo artist in the 90s. And he was like, I'm gonna join this dance team. I'm gonna start doing this. And then other friend was like, I'm gonna go to New York. And I was like, my parents asked me to help them with their family business. So I stopped dancing, got into the family business for about like 7-8 years. And then once Ben kind of decided to move from Jabberwockies back to LA, I was like, this is an opportunity, because I've always wanted to open a dance studio since I was in high school. And so I saw this as like, hey, we want to partner up in this, like. And he was like, hey, actually, Kinjas want to do something similar. Let's all work together. And that's how I got down with the Kinjas. We did that for a couple of years, and then I became a Kinja. And then now, post-pandemic, I'm just like doing family business, man, and doing the podcast with Ben. So.
That's great.
And I'm married. Marriage is great.
Is it a new marriage?
4 years. 4 years. Yeah.
You still like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You still like
I still like it, but if boy, I could tell you something. I could teach you guys something out there, guys. But that's a different master class. So.
That's dope.
Different master class.
But no, in both of those stories, though, it's like these points of evolution, right?
Yeah.
Like from high school interest to like starting something to like, hey, let's make a business. And like Kendrick's business was through the roof. And one of my favorite things is like from the merch to the multiple locations. You even mentioned like choreographing during the pandemic, like sending things remotely. But then like evolution continues.
Right.
When you are well known for something and you're like, hey, I'm about to start doing some different stuff. It's like people are like, no, come do this thing. And like, don't call me about that anymore. I'm doing this. And you're like, I know you're on the circuit, like in terms of speaking, got a book in the works and all sorts of things, and you got back in the family business. What does that feel like to kind of leave something you're so well known for and then begin something new?
It was easy for me. I was getting fat. I was getting real fat, and it was just getting really hard to like tie my shoes or bending over. So dancing was easy, and then to leave in the beginning with because I was making money, I was like going out and having fun. I also was a promoter and an owner of a partner of a entertainment company that we did like Hollywood night, like Saturday night, Friday night club events. So we did Belasco during the big Asian time I think it was 2012 to like 2014. So like that was my intro into still having fun, but like putting like stress on my body and stuff like that. And then getting back with Ben and the Kinjas, I got back into it and I was kind of doing it. And I still practice by myself, but my body just don't work the way it used to. So now I can appreciate everyone else. Maybe I can do like a TikTok video here and there, but that's all I got. Make sure to stretch every day, guys.
Yeah, stretching is very important.
Very important.
Yeah, I think it's I've been I always say I'm living in startup mode. I've never left startup mode ever since I decided, all right, I'm gonna see what this dance thing can amount to. And as a dancer, there is no blueprint to follow. There isn't like you go to school and you get a degree in dance entertainment, and then like you get all these job offers. It just doesn't work like that. So you are, by nature, you have to learn how to be entrepreneurial. You have to learn how to shift, and you have to kind of pay attention to what's going on, whether that's social media, forget a social media. I had to write out a resume and then burn like my choreography reel on a CD and then pass these out to dance studios. And then that was, pre-social media. And then now, we got Instagram and we have LinkedIn and we have all these things that we can use as tools. So now it's like, okay, paying attention, and now fast forward to we live off of these smartphones that are in our pocket. And so, you have to just learn how to shift. And then also, innovation is about timing, right? Like it is about being quick, but it's also paying attention to like not everything hits all at once. You know what I mean? Right. And so I think even with dance and it being something that was so very like not a traditional way of pursuing any kind of career, to now it's like, yo, you can get discovered just right off of Instagram, TikTok, and people be, hey man, you're amazing, you have a lot of followers.
But I feel like look, I'm black and
you don't say.
Wait,
don't allow me to try to do any choreography, right? Like it's like put me on the dance floor and like just having a good time. Great. My daughter was like, hey, let's do this, whatever, and I was like, I could not.
Yeah.
Like,
so
my
you
brain could not memorize and mimic and repeat.
But it's what you put your training to. You're in martial arts.
Yeah, I feel like every other day, like people I know are like, oh, look at this thing, and then, like you learn, and then you learn another one, and then you learn another one. Like the consistency and the volume.
Yeah.
Right. Like I interviewed a guy named Nick Cooper, one of my really good friends. He's a vocal coach, trained Beyonce and Katy Perry and all these folks. And I asked him about like the YouTube and SoundCloud era of music, and like how he feels about that versus the superstardom, the people are at the foam rises to the top. And he said, I'm afraid that we're getting to a place where we're celebrating mediocrity.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, you come from an era where, like, burning CDs and, like, the game was a little different.
For sure.
But then it's like, what is good? What do,
I'll say this, though, man. I know people will, like you mentioned TikTok dances, right? And then people will like, oh yeah, that's not real stuff. That's not real dancing, which I understand where that's coming from. But I do think with the introduction of digital technology, you know, the YouTube, the Instagram, you could literally go on YouTube, type up anything, how to blank, and then you'll find a ton of videos of how to do that. And, you know, as kids, I mean, kids are sponges, man. You know, when you put that level of access and technology in the hands of a child, and children are fearless. They will just they will jump off of a thing, get hurt, and get back right up and do it again. And that's how you learn, right? Like, I mean, for me, before dance, it was skateboarding. And I, you know, as like a 11, 12-year-old, I love skateboarding. And I did not care if I banged up my knee jumping off like 5 stairs. I'll do it until I land the trick. You ask me to do that now? No, thank you. Like, that's not happening. But I think there's something about children, or just the youth in general, that they have this ability to try with a level of fearlessness. And then when you give them access to the best in the world, then you're going to get real talent that is, I think it's just possible at a younger age now, because the technology allows that. So yes, people could be like, oh yeah, that stuff's not real. I get it. But like, there are a lot of real folks out there who are getting better at younger ages and like way faster. And I see it all around. Man, I go to studios now when I take classes. I'm seeing like 15, 14-year-olds at professional level dancing. Phenomenal.
I see like breakers, these kids doing like windmills and stuff. You know how many rug burns I got on my face and my shoulder just to get one windmill? Like,
yeah.
And I didn't have any. We had to go to like Workman's Outlet on Melrose to get like a breakdancing video. And whatever was there, you just had to get it. I learned how to dance from Flowmaster. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So that's like my teacher with dance.
Yeah, but I think even just with the pandemic, you're talking about Kinjas and like how things have evolved. We had a dance studio. That's where we had our first podcast. We don't have that studio anymore. And like we once everything shut down, gyms, studios, they all shut down. Rather than, oh, I guess we're done, you guys. COVID happened. I guess we should all just like crawl into a little cave and call it quits. It's like, no, well, what can we do? Well, everybody's online. Cool, let's shut down our brick and mortar. Let's take it online where everybody's at. Yep. So we shifted from there to take our brick and mortar studio to a digital studio. Now people can subscribe to a monthly thing, and then, you know, way less overhead for us. We don't got to pay a rent for a space anymore. And then now people can do things on demand, which is, we all know, from Netflix to everything. On demand is king, right? I just want to watch what I want to watch, do what I want to do at my own leisure time. And so that's where like different pivots and stuff like that happen. But I think just the ability to do that has always been in me, because I've always had to pivot. And so even where I'm at now, even though like I'm sort of pivoting from like full-time dance as being what I used to do, and now it's not looking like that, I'm like, all right, now what do I have access to? Storytelling, you know what I mean? Like, I know I have a voice, I have a lot of experience, I have a lot to be able to download to, you know, future generations and things like that. And it's just like you, man. It's just like, what's going on out there? Like, what can I be curious about? What can I like? I think our minds as students, like, thank God, like that never goes away. As long as we have a sound brain and everything's working up there, you know, we can always be curious and we can always learn. You know, I was
talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, I'm teaching my son." He stepped out during our call, and he was like, "They're learning about rhombuses," and I couldn't even remember what a rhombus was. And he was talking about how the educational system is broken. And I didn't say this on the call, but I immediately thought, it was like, kids are learning how to learn.
Right.
Like, whatever they're learning, they are learning to, like, what is this? Let me ask a question and figure out, problem solve, et cetera, et cetera. So I think when people say, like, the educational system is broken, or we don't look at, like, a lot of what you just talked about is like, you sought something to learn how to do.
Yeah.
And you found out whatever means. And some of that, I would imagine, I'm not a child psychologist or anything, but, like, some of it has to come from, like, oh, I've been in a system that has allowed me to, like, that's interesting. I want to learn more about the Revolutionary War, right? Or I hate the revolution. This is boring. Or I really like this math problem. Let me figure it out. Like, but you just learn the idea of learning. So
I feel like kids these days, though, they have so many distractions, and like you said, you have so many tools available to learn that it's easy to go. Before, when we'd go to our computer labs, it was like Oregon Trail, like Family Feud, and then a word processing game and whatever, right? Now they have the full internet. Like, some of them have like really good computers. Some of them have computer laptops where it's like, now I feel like what I hear from kids because we have a lot of, like, my wife has a lot of friends. We have, like, they have a lot of kids in my vicinity where they all want to be YouTubers. They don't even want to do, like, they don't want to be a doctor. They don't want to do a lawyer, because before, when we would go to the library, we'd have to sit down and learn whatever was there, right? But now they have so many other options to go and, I want to make money doing this. A lot of them want to be YouTubers or gamers, streamers, I don't know, but maybe podcasters. I don't know. But
I'm sure there are.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's crazy because we have they have so many tools now, but it's also a distraction, I think.
As
much as it is a tool.
I am a parent. And
I mean,
I'm
you can
like,
speak, yeah.
I mean, many times over. No, I'm just kidding, just two. Several. You ever
So
seen that one
many I
video?
don't know.
I have 22 children.
Whoa.
You ever seen this video? It's like,
Yeah.
21 baby
22.
mothers. You're like, I'm a real bad man.
We can't do that.
You could. Go ahead and do it.
I'm not allowed to.
I'll do an Asian
I'm
accent
not
if you
allowed
do
to.
a
Oh, wow.
Jamaican accent.
We're crossing over dangerous territory now.
But no, I try to over-index in experiences. Like,
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
you to go do and feel something, because this tapping on glass is, sure, it's great for exposure and finding ideas and seeing things and being entertained, and and granted, it has like a lot more capability in that. But I think at the same time, it's like, let's go pet some animals. Let's come to a place like this and have a physical experience.
Yeah.
Let's go, like, even for holidays and birthdays, I'm like, most of the gifts should be experiences and not things.
Totally.
So it's, because I think the same thing happens in innovation, or like same way you guys sought out dance. It's like, let me just go see what it is.
Yeah,
like, I gotta go tinker around with some things and have fun doing it that way.
Let's go battle in a warehouse, and then you
Take it back to the old school, man.
You get a flyer over here, and then you'd have to go. You get it the day of or something, and like a lot of it was underground. It was fun, but.
I feel like things are kind of going back to that, though. I don't know if you guys have been hearing that people like Gen Z and now I guess Gen Alpha is kind of like that's
they're
the
just
next
trying to repeat
gen,
what
right?
we did, yeah.
But is kind of going back to analog things. Have you guys hear that? Like smartphones and things like the iPhone and all the stuff that we use. People are like, I don't want to get distracted by all this social media stuff. Like people are wanting to get flip phones again and back to the Nokia phones, and I'm like, what? Like. It's like we're like everything cycles backwards, man, which is interesting.
Hipsters are getting younger and younger. That's what's happening.
Maybe
That's true. That's absolutely true.
I'm curious though. So you do train in martial arts.
I do train in martial arts. Right.
And so here it's funny you were talking about these accents, and we're afraid to say these accents. So it being conversations is like, anything that kind of pertains to, the Asian American or just the Asian experience or just anything revolving around topics. Like, so we've talked about things like racism and things like that on our pod. Again, coming out of this pandemic, and there was a lot of heightened sensitivities towards things like cultural appropriation, things like that, the BLM movement, cancel culture, straight up, man, like our Asian elderly getting beat up in the streets, like, and it's just like, what is happening? And sure that I'm sure there's a whole, rabbit hole of a conversation that we can get into, which we won't on this one. But, I would just love to hear, your take on, somebody who does appreciate things of another culture, whether it be martial arts, whether it be the food, music, Wu-Tang, shout out Wu-Tang. What are some of your thoughts towards, like, what do you think cultural appropriation is and what is it not?
Ooh. See, I have unpopular opinions in this space. Because look, I think the example that immediately came to mind was a few years ago, Adele had like Bantu knots in her hair.
Okay, yeah.
And I think she was on vacation in Jamaica where they will stop you on the beach and do your hair.
Yeah.
And there was a photo, and it was just like, no, Adele, you can't do that. It was like, I was like, so I think there's a couple of factors, right? One is intention. Like Dave Chappelle and the trans community.
Yeah.
Now I think they've doubled and tripled down on it, and that's where he probably should have stopped. But the first time was just like, if we can just learn to poke fun at each other and have some levity about ourselves, then I think that's okay. From an appropriation standpoint, it's a thin line, right? Like, I mean, I was in Indiana like Indianapolis, Indiana, at an innovation event. Went to the networking mixer, had a conversation with a white dude, khaki pants, the blue shirt, the pleats, everything. Yeah. Loves hip hop. Like grew up around. He's like, I can't talk about it. Like he can't, because he will immediately get shut down. Wow. So it's like having some discernment, knowing what's not your fight to fight. I remember at one point in time, I think it was police brutality has always been happening. But I think it was the same time like Shea moisturizer, like there was a commercial for Shea and it had a white woman in it.
Okay.
And the black community got incredibly pissed off. Yeah. I'm like, somebody just got shot down yesterday. Like we were just arguing about the shooting down. Now there's like articles and blogs and social media posts about this white woman in a lotion commercial. And I think to your point of distraction earlier, it's not just kids. It's everything. Like we are so quick to move on to the next thing, and either we're still angry about the last one, now it's accumulated.
I was just gonna say Asians we're not the hated ones right now. Now they're going after like with the Palestine and Gaza stuff. Like they're going after people who are either protesting or like has some kind of whatever they're supporting. The other side someone will. That's what I'm hearing on the news. There's a lot more attacks. So the Asian attacks have been going. That's when I agree with you. It's now they're just focusing their rage on someone else.
Neil Brennan said it best. It was Neil Brennan, a comedian, Dave Chappelle's partner. He said in one interview, he's like, anytime somebody, like the internet is mad about something I said or did, he's like, I give it 3 days.
Right. Yeah.
And he's like, it's
like the flavor of the week, right?
He's like, I give it 3 days, and if it's still a thing, and it's never been a thing.
Right.
Can I ask you? Okay, so is this cultural appropriation? And
yes.
I'm being serious about this.
All right.
So now that I'm growing my hair out, and when I sleep, it's very hard because my hair gets in my face. So I looked up some options and stuff, and I ended up buying a do-rag. Okay, now
yes,
you can actually see it in the shot.
Let's see if you got waves. Okay. Did your waves come in yet?
I haven't put it on because. First of all, it keeps slipping off. No, it keeps slipping off, and I don't think I'm putting it on correctly. Don't know how to do it, bro. So my question is this: like, I'm using it for the hair purpose, right? Because even my wife, when I showed her, I thought she was gonna give me way more, like either laugh at me or like give me crap, and she was like, "Actually, that's pretty good for your hair, so it doesn't fall out." And I was like, "Oh, okay, so
it's functional.
It's functional. You know what I mean?
Functional do-rag.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it's for."
Yeah, but is it?
I mean, don't wear it like here.
Out,
you know what I mean?
Right? I can't wear it out, right?
He just shows up.
I
wish you did.
I mean, when we were dancers back in the day, we would like have it under our hats sometimes.
Yeah.
It isn't like it wasn't like a general fashion statement. We were less sensitive about what was appropriation and what wasn't.
Do I'm good wearing it?
You got permission to wear it at night.
Are you asking if you get the pass? Is that what it is? You want the pass from him? Is that what you're trying to do?
The guy on the even cover looks so much badass than I do. I was just like, man, I can never be
Was he wearing a tank top?
Yeah. And the thing is, I try to return it to Amazon. They're like, here's your money back. You keep it.
Oh, that's because
it's
like a free do-rag.
Yeah, I got a free do-rag. So I'm like, so I got to learn how. I haven't done the
Look, here's what I'd love to believe, right? When I was in elementary school, shout out to Go Lightly Elementary School in Detroit. I don't even know if it's still. But when they used to talk about America as a melting pot, and I think that's the most altruistic vision of what America should be. It means like you bring something to the table, we all come from different places, let's borrow from one another. So if a do-rag works for you, like it shouldn't be like look at right?
Well, I would never wear that.
Right. But yes, we also enjoy like what we feel is ours.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
The cookout, the like whatever the thing might be that we feel we identify with, and we feel like, because I think we all need our safe spaces.
Yeah. I think there's a difference between appreciating and honoring what the thing is and not just treating it as some sort of novelty, right? I think if you like, I actually really enjoy this, and like, so here, this might be a poor illustration or example, but like there was a time, and it still might be happening, where people would show up to these like music festivals, right? Like a Coachella, and then, they would be dressed in like sort of Native American inspired garb. But it's like, it's festival wear. It's like, what does that got to do with, that got to do with going to a music festival? Like dressing up in like feathers and, you know what I'm saying, like jewelry that's like, it has nothing to do with that culture. It's just kind of a novelty thing. Like, oh, this is what you wear to a festival.
Yeah.
So I think there's something there is like, well, you're not even honoring the culture of what that is.
You don't know where it comes from to even do that. Yeah.
So I think, you know, when you treat it as something as like, yeah, I don't know, it's just fun. Like that's like kind of you're being a little bit irresponsible, I would say, and that could be disrespectful. And I get that. But then if you're actually like, for instance, Adele, like, you know, going to Jamaica, like, hey, dude, I wanted to just be in the culture. Like, I'm here. I want to learn. I want to immerse myself. I'm just like, yo, that's dope. Like, you're learning and you're appreciating. You know what I mean? And so
I'm sure you've
been
like
contributing to the economy by like
exactly.
Right. The people who are like doing that, they're making that helps their life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, I mean, I'm sure you've been in like a dance circle where the most unlikely person steps up and you're like, oh, okay, good. And you're cheering them on, right?
Yeah. But I will say though, you know, when you treat it as something that you respect and you want to honor it, and you do your sort of research. I'm not saying you have to be some expert at something to partake in something, because I think that's also an extreme.
Well, it goes back to what you were saying. Oh, so you originally asked me about martial arts, right?
Yeah.
And me and my favorite cousin, shout out to Colin, we would watch the karate movies on Channel 20 when you started you turn.
There you go.
And we would like pull our sleeves over our fists and jump off the bed and like make the flying noise.
That's the best.
It wasn't until I got to college, and I was a swimmer most of my life, and for my mom will deny this, but she was like, "Don't swim your first year. Just focus on grades." So I decided to like try out for our martial arts team, which was basically lessons, but then we had a big competition, like one of the biggest ones in the region, and then we would go compete in other arenas, and I just learned to have such an appreciation for the craft, you know, and the traditions and that sort of thing. I remember I went to a Coca event, and just the way I was naturally behaving in that environment because of partially my martial arts experience and understanding respect and the two-handed business card, you know, exchange. Like people were like, "Oh, did you grow up? Like, did you live somewhere? Did you blah blah?" Like I was getting asked a lot of questions about my whatever knowledge or behavior in Korean culture.
Right.
But I didn't come into martial arts during a time where there was a heightened sensitivity around, is this appropriation? Is it not? Like I just really love the craft. And then of course that bleeds out into other things, whether it becomes Buddhist philosophies or whatever else it might be to become part of my evolutionary toolbox. So let alone things like the confidence I can walk into a room with because I can defend myself intellectually and physically if need be.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say honestly, black dudes in like martial arts, they kind of go hand in hand. Black people with anime, like I feel like they know way more than some Asian people.
Well, I think even freaking K-pop.
K-pop too now.
I mean, it's transcended all different cultures where it's like it's not just exclusively for Koreans. I mean, it's huge globally. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, look what's happening with country now, right? Like you know, there's an article written recently about like all the black artists who are like changing the face of country music. You know, kind of started with Lil Nas X, like as far as the most popular one, and then Dane Brown, I think his name is, and then Beyonce, and then there's this other black woman. So I need my inhaler. I'm losing my breath. I have like old long COVID. So if I die,
let's hope not. Let's.
You guys can have my podcast.
Can find him here.
If I die, you can have Masters of Crafts. You heard it here first.
Masters of Conversations.
We've inherited. No.
Masters of Conversations.
We're gonna take that energy out of here.
I'm not gonna die. Not today. While we're playing one of the games. But no, like I just, you know, I think there's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a nuanced.
For sure. Man, I mean, dude, I would love to continue this conversation, but I do want to get out there and hit some of these games. But dude, Chris.
Oh, by the way, hold on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you get into it.
You're in a better position.
Am I? Okay. Well, let me.
Well, we have a gift
for you. Set this down.
We have a gift for you. This is from our
a gift.
One of our sponsors, Mojab Basics.
In
Conversations.
Fashion.
Yes. We don't come empty-handed. So.
Well, in black fashion, I brought you something.
See, look,
and I was late.
That was so good. We did
This is dope.
But yo, Chris, this was so fun, man, and we'd love to do another one of these. But we also just want to get out there and play these games.
Let's do it.
But appreciate you, bro. And if you know, for those our listening audience, like, how can they find you? Where can they follow the podcast or the adventures of Chris Denson?
Densonology. It's the study of wealth. You know what I mean?
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
On all the socials. I'm on LinkedIn. Do people are the kids on LinkedIn? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm technically on there.
MOC Pod is another one for the Masters of Craft podcast. Google Chris Denson. There's one other basketball player named Chris Denson. And he and I are social media friends. Yeah,
are you guys
I
friends?
played basketball. I'm not a basketball player. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. There's a
slight
difference.
difference.
There's a difference. That's what's up. All right, man. We out of here. Oh,
Yes,
actually,
sir.
we'll see you on the game floor.
Yes.
So, yeah. Peace
Here we
out.
go.
Masters of Craft, beat us out.
No, I appreciate the effort, you guys, but unfortunately, Masters of Craft.
Surprise.
You may have won the battle. You may have won the battle, but not.
But we will.
Have the gaming strength of
We
two
do
nations.
that.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. You can find us on Conversations_pod at YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next time.